Hello YouTube, Toxic Tackle here. How y'all doing today? Got some more tips and stuff I want to share with y'all. This one is something that most of us do. We tinker around, we play with lures, we try and modify them, make them better. Started out with shad wraps, tear them up, throwing them, the bill comes out, you get discouraged. So I started tinkering with them and taking stuff. We did a video on the Resisto wraps, modified, changed the bill in those, showed you that. One of our other videos, you want to go back and watch it. Custom paint job, airbrushed, re-cleared, different bill. They come with a, it's a longer bill, but it doesn't, it's some reason they was just going for depth. They didn't go for action. So the Resisto wrap, I never was a big fan of the bait in stock form. Once I started modifying them, very good deep crankbait. Bait will still get down 14, 15 foot long cast. You add a little more weight, cut down on your line size. You can get a little deeper, but it's got a real good action and it really tracks and hunts well on the bottom. It digs, it's got a good roll and wobble. Anyway, today we're talking about DT flats. It's got a coffin bill, made by Rapala. Good looking bait. Coffin bill baits, generally I like them early spring. Late January, February, March, when the fish start moving up a little shallower. Coffin bill comes through stuff pretty decent. Don't catch a lot of fish on this bait in the form that it's in. Just don't do it. It dives to about 7 foot, hence the DT-7. Today I'm going to show you how to trick this bait out, make it hot. If you don't know how to airbrush or anything, but you know how to tinker, you can do this. Anybody can do it. I've already took the hooks off and took the split ring off of the bill. First thing you need to do, and it only works on balsa wood lures, the DT flats, shad wraps, old Resisto wraps. You can do it on the newer DT20s and DT16s. All those Dive 2 series, you can change them out. You can take the bills out of them. You can change the bill. You can take a DT16 bill, put it in a DT10. You create a smaller profile but a deeper diving bait out of already good bait. The DT7 flats, they're not weighted as much. They're a little more buoyant than the round DT series. This is a better candidate to do this with because you can tailor the weight or add rattles or whatever you want to do. But I removed the hooks, removed the line tie, the split ring that is off of here, and you just take a razor knife, utility knife, scalpel, anything you want. Be real careful, don't cut your hand, but you just go around here and you just kind of score right around where the bill meets the wood. Where the bill meets the wood. We're going to keep this paint job on here factory. You'll never know this bait's been tinkered with except for it's got a different bill. Use a good sharp blade and just be real gentle and don't cut your hand and just kind of go around the edges and score it. And then when you get to the sides right here, the bill ends right there where it meets the wood. So you can kind of take your blade and just stick it in a little bit. Just kind of stick it into the wood and help break the bill loose. You're not messing up the paint or anything. You just go to the edge of the clear bill and stick it in. Once you go around it and score it, you can take your hand, hold the lure real firm, and just give it a little small twist, and you can hear it start popping and making little noises and creaking. You can wiggle it up and down. Just be careful you don't want to get carried away and bend it so hard you break the nose of the lure. These are tough, but they're still balsa wood. You can still break them. So you give it a little twist and pull on it real hard. While you're twisting, you just give it pull, wiggle it up and down. It will come loose. Sometimes, since I'm not going to reuse the bills, I'll take a regular old pair of pliers that has good little gripper teeth in them, and I'll grab the bill like so. Grab the bill like that, twist it while you're pulling, and look at there. The bill comes right out. You could reuse this bill if you wanted to. You could just take it out and add some weight to the lure and then glue it back in. You can change the action of the lure. You could take it out. This bait's already got a rattle in it. We're not crazy about rattles except for certain times, but going to do away with the coffin bill. There's tons and tons of these things I've done. I've done them for other people. These are actually for another guy that's in the Bass Club, Jasper County Bass Club in Georgia. Makes a good lure. So we're doing away with this bill. You go to places like Jan's Net Craft or Stamina, which is lure parts online now. You can order all kinds of bills, any kind of bill you want. These are all deeper diving bills. Another deeper diving, looks like a DB3 bill, identical to a DB3 bill. You can buy these, they're cheap. These are just polypropylene, I don't know what they are, they're just Lexan. They already got a line tie built in. Real good, real economical, making a cool bait better. Then you can also get circuit board bills. I've already drilled a hole in this one. Some of you guys like the circuit board because it gets a little more depth. You get a foot or two maybe circuit board versus the same size bill in Lexan. Maybe a foot more. And since they don't come with a hole drilled in them, you kind of use your good judgment and putting the line tie where it's equivalent to what come out of there, or you mess with problems of getting the lure tuned. The further out you put your hole in your line tie, the easier it is to tune, but you lose some of the depth of it diving. You lose a little bit of the roll action, you get more of a waggle action. So if you keep this back as far as you can and keeping it in tune, if you compare it to one of the bills that comes out of the baits, some of the other bills, and keep it in that general area, the lure is easy to tune because it's already balanced because it was already running right, you know, from the factory. So we're going to use some Lexan bills in these. These are some of the circuit board bills I've already put line ties in. It's just stainless steel 035 wire, and you can wrap it around a pair of pliers or whatever and do your little bends. There's tons and tons of different ones like that. You can swap them out. Put the wire in the bill, and then this will just insert into the lure, similar to that. It goes right in the bill slot that's here. Now, circuit board bill is thinner than those other ones, and these are already cut for a decent sized bill. You see the hole where the bill come out, and it also, these Rapala bills have this little tab sticking off here that goes down in the lure, and it helps hold it in there some. I think it's more part of their machining and casting. They have that built into the bill more than anything, but it's got a hole up in the lure that's about the size of a 1/4 inch drill bit, and that bill slides right back in that hole. Generally what I do is I like to put a little touch of weight nose front inside these baits just to make them dig a little harder. It doesn't affect the action as long as you keep the weight down. Don't get carried away with weight. Little split shot, or a really good way to add weight, is just cheap. Buy them all day long. BBs. I use a lot of BBs. They're cheaper, they're safer than lead. You can drop a couple of these. I got 2 BBs in my hand. I'm going to drop them in this hole right here. This is the hole. It's giving a little more rattle, which I'm not crazy about the rattle. If we didn't want it to rattle, we could just take a split shot that's about equivalent to the size of the hole and slide it in there, and it'd be snug and it wouldn't rattle, and it'd add a little weight. But I'm cool with the 2 BBs in there. We'll try it out. Got one of these bills from Netcraft. This is the next to the largest size that they use, Lexan, and I know that this one works good in a DT flat. Generally, this is a little bit thicker than the slot that they provide you, so it won't go in there. What I like to do is either take the Dremel, and since I don't want to turn the Dremel on and make all that racket, I just take a utility knife and I just, on the bottom of the hole, you just cut a little bit off that lip. It's real easy. It's balsa wood. Once you break through their clear and their paint, I just remove just a little tiny bit from this side right here, and I'll turn it over and I'll just remove a little tiny bit from this side. So I just shaved off a little thin layer off of both sides. Maybe enough for it to fit, but I generally like to sand it a little bit too. Well, it fits. So you put it in there and you line it up and eyeball it. Make sure you got it straight. When you're looking down the lure, you want to make sure that it's straight side to side, and you can eyeball it this way. Usually use your eye like you was aiming a gun. It looks like it's get it lined up so it looks like it's even on both sides. I turn it around and I'll look down it from the front, look at it from the bottom and see if it's even, and you just even it up the best you can, and it'll only go in so far, and it's got these little bulges on the side of it. I like to sink it deeper than that you don't lose any diving depth. You're just gaining action. And to get this to go a little further in, I usually use the Dremel. And just this little small bit in the Dremel, similar to this. It's just a little raspy bit that chews off some, and it's just the right size to go in here when it's in the Dremel tool, and you can just drill in a little ways. So I'm going to drill it out a little bit. I'm going to change my tool here. And we're going to drill this out, and we're going to put this bill in, and then you got a new lure. Great action. It's already flat. It's already got a good hard clear coat finish, so hold your ears while I do this for a second. Soft balsa wood, and that's all it takes. It don't take much to get it. Now this bill fits in there perfect. Now it goes all the way in as far as we want it, and if you look at this, we done created a nice looking flat bait that has a little more desirable action for general fishing. I like it way better than a coffin bill. I've done a lot of these baits, a lot of different other people's baits. The Zoom Ed Chambers tap bait that's got a coffin bill. This is a bill out of one of those. This is out of a Ed Chambers tap bait, and good looking lure, great lure. He makes an awesome lure, but I don't like the action that the coffin bill gives on this certain flat bait. Sometimes the fish want it, and it does come through cover pretty good, but generally I catch way more fish with these modified flat baits, or even the handmade ones with this bill angle and all that. So anyway, once you fit your bill, and any of you guys at home can do this in your garage. This is how I learned how to play with lures. We're not going to custom paint these. They got a good looking paint job. The kid just wants some new bills in them to give them a better action. He bought them in a bargain bin. You can find a lot of these DT flats bargain bins now, and it's a good balsa bait, especially once you change out the bill. I think he gave 99 cents a piece, and he bought all that they had. He bought like 10, and he sold some of them to his buddies for $2 or $3, and he kept the rest to get them modified. So good bargain bin bait, and you can modify it and make it better. Go online and check out Netcraft or one of those lure parts online. They've got all kind of bills and stuff you can buy. They even got bodies. I don't buy many prefab balsa bodies. I generally make them myself, but my machines tore up, so I had to buy some bodies to do a job, to make some lures for some guys. So I generally don't like buying them because I make them myself. This is one that I've cut out and started shaping. I got a little machine I made that shapes it, which we'll see some of that later on. This is going to be a flat bait, kind of like a gulp, if anybody knows what a gulp is. But with this bait here, we've already taken the bill out, we've already fit it, we've lined it up, we've eyeballed it and got the bill real straight. We added a little extra weight to the front of it. The only thing left to do is you can super glue it in, or use a 2-part clear epoxy is even better. Mix it up a batch of it, kind of dip your bill in it, slide it in and wipe off the excess. I usually like to drizzle a little extra glue where that little tab used to be. It leaves a little hollow spot. So if you drizzle some extra glue down in there, it'll fill it in just fine, and your bill will be in there, and the lure still looks like a factory lure. Still got a great finish and still real tough, but it's got a much better action. It hunts better. In general, to me, it's a lot better bait without the coffin bill. I wish Rapala would go ahead and make a flat bait like this without the coffin bill. It's just a little harder to tune, I think, for them to make it. But this is a good seller. A lot of their baits are really good sellers, and they work pretty good, but you can make a lot of them better. Shad wraps, you can take a number 5 bill out, take a number 7 bill out, put the 7 bill in the 5. You can make it work, and you can make a bait that's unreal. Anyway, that was another little video on how to do stuff. There's a lot more to come. Cool baits. If you ain't got none, you might find some in a bargain bin, and you can make them really cool. And that is just a good looking for making a lot of videos. Fishing reports, tips and tricks, airbrushing.